And we have what I think is a first here on DAV social media, joined by some very special guests coming to us from Tanzania. So I'll start by introducing Marine Corps veteran and DAV's second junior vice commander, Coleman Nee. Coleman is a life member of Chapter 3 in Boston. We also have fellow Marine Corps veteran and DAV member Michael York. Michael is the president and founder of Veterans on the 48, a nonprofit dedicated to getting more veterans outside and onto the trails to promote healthy lifestyles, both physically and mentally. Coleman and Michael are joining us from the base of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania in East Africa, where they will soon set out to climb nearly 20,000 feet above sea level to the mountain's peak. Coleman and Michael will be joined by 6 other DAV members, and the 10-day excursion is sponsored by DAV Massachusetts. Thank you both, and everyone there in the background. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us, and really want to thank the DAV and the Department of Massachusetts for their outstanding sponsorship of this trip, making it happen. It was, I think everyone here was very appreciative of the fact that that a service organization would step up and do this for them.
Absolutely. Michael, can you start by telling us more about Veterans on the 48 and how that organization came to be?
So in 2017, me and my father, Greg, set out to hike Mount Washington in New Hampshire. We'd never done it before, never really had done any hiking. We went out to REI, just bought a ton of gear and kind of took on the mountain, really not knowing what we were getting into. It took us about 8 hours, to do the whole trip, maybe a little longer. And I started noticing, about halfway up that my mind was kind of going elsewhere, and I was replaying things that I kind of thought I had put to bed from when I was in the military. And I noticed that just through the physical struggle of climbing the mountain and just kind of being out in the outdoors, with my father, someone that, I trusted and, could relate with. I just started working through it. And when we got to the top, it was like some of the things that were in my mind kind of went away. And I noticed that when I got to the bottom of the mountain, I just felt like more myself than I had in a long time. Like my pack was lighter, I guess is a way to put it. Shortly after, I discovered something called the New Hampshire 48, which is a challenge to hike all 48 4,000 footers in New Hampshire. And me and my father took off on that right away. We did as many as we could together. We did a lot, on our own. And I noticed that every time that I was outside and on the mountains, those things that I was struggling with, they were becoming less and less. I was leaving them kind of behind on the trail and realizing that I was, again, becoming more and more of the person I kind of used to be, who I wanted to be. And, that kind of blossomed into the Veterans on the 48. I wanted to see if I could get other veterans that may be going through the same things I was and see if it would help them the way it was helping me. I started reaching out to other veterans that I knew, kind of, checking out social media, seeing if there was any other veterans that hiked in New Hampshire, and just asking them, like, hey, do you want to come hike with me? And we'll do it together. And that turned into small group hikes of just really, at the time, random veterans that wanted to get together and go for a hike. As more and more showed interest, I saw, kind of an opportunity to create a community, a hiking community for veterans. So I just started reaching out to more, get in touch with them, and then COVID hit, and I found myself with just a ton of free time. So I figured, why not try to make this into a nonprofit where we could raise funds and send veterans to different events and, take our group hikes that we were organizing them and expand on them, pay for them to stay at some of the AMC high huts, on the Presidential Range and on various other mountains, and just create a new experience for them, give them a new way to get outdoors, just, connect with other veterans and have a good time. So,
yeah,
the group hikes expanded, and now we have, an all-women's veteran group that we have. We have a trail crew to do trail maintenance. We're paying for veterans to go to wilderness first aid. We're buying them gear. So it's, it's come a long way since that trip up Mount Washington with my dad.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And for those watching, if you want to learn more, you can go to veteransonthe48.org. Michael shares some of his story there as well that you can read. Michael, can you tell us like about how many veterans have participated, in these different hikes and such?
Well, with Coleman hiking with us tomorrow, he'll make 109 different veterans that have hiked with our organization.
That's awesome. Coleman, why is this an organization that you and DAV Massachusetts wanted to get behind and get involved with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, well, first and foremost, I'll answer that from a personal standpoint. I'm somebody that loves the outdoors. I love hiking. One of the as Michael said, one of the great opportunities to practice kind of, what the VA teaches you with mindfulness and kind of keeping yourself, keeping your mental and stress level, at an even keel is to engage in activities that you enjoy and engage in activities that kind of challenge you a little bit, but then also give you an opportunity to kind of reflect. And I think, for me, hiking has always been a great experience. But from a larger standpoint too, I'm up in the Northeast and in Massachusetts. We definitely see an older skew of our veterans, demographically. A lot of our younger vets, even that miss from Massachusetts or come back to Massachusetts, are going to other places in the country where it's maybe more affordable, or there's more work opportunities, or the only ice that they're going to see is going to be in their drinks, right? So they kind of, we know that a lot of younger veterans that are in Massachusetts, if they're on GI Bill, attending one of our numerous colleges, that they're engaged in, a lot of service work and outdoor activities. And so I just thought this would be a great opportunity for us, for DAV, to really partner with an organization that was attracting younger veterans, that was attracting people who, had a different values in terms of what they're looking for in an organization, and see if there's, an opportunity to get the best of what they have and also get the best of what we have, which is, helping people with services, with claims, advocating, both at the state and the federal level, making sure that people have their right ratings. If there's any trouble with VA or any trouble with any of their benefits, we're really sort of their go-to person to really try and help them out with that. So it's a really good synergy between the two of our groups, and I think it's a good way to introduce a lot of our longstanding members to what other veterans groups are doing in order to help our veterans community. And then it's a good way for us to introduce ourselves or reintroduce ourselves to some younger veterans that may have a misconception about what a veteran service organization does.
Yeah. And Michael, so I know your membership with DAV is relatively new. This partnership is relatively new. What's it been like for you so far working with DAV Massachusetts?
It's been great. I could be more grateful for them. They help me with claims that I was having issues with. And I don't know. Our missions align. So discovering them and joining up, just it helps us expand, and if we can reach more veterans and get them outside and enjoy nature together, then it's a win for everybody.
Yeah, in fact, this isn't just the only collaboration we've had. DAV Massachusetts has a recreation retreat center right across the border in New Hampshire that we've been working on to come up with a strategic plan for. But there is a large bunkhouse there. There is a facility, commercial kitchen, and a fire. And we were able to partner with veterans in the 48 and Michael to do our wilderness first aid training there for how many veterans? 15 veterans, most of whom aren't even on this trip. So that's additional vets that we were able to reach. And frankly, Michael was sharing last night, his kind of after action report surveys that he does when it comes to these things. People were really impressed with the facility, really impressed with, the information they got. We did have several people from that trip actually reach back out to our state adjutant to say, hey, thanks for doing that, you guys. By the way, I am having a little trouble with the claim. I am having trouble and that's really right in our sweet spot. We're able to help those people through that and get them to what they, where they need to be and get the resources and benefits that they need and that they've earned, frankly.
So how did this idea of trekking Kilimanjaro come about? And Coleman, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to switch seats with this gentleman right next to me because he's the one who called me about Kilimanjaro. So why don't you slide and introduce yourself? Let's fire up. Strap in.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We've been drinking coffee all morning, so hold on. Greetings and
Fair enough.
salutations. My name's Kurt Power. Coleman's a good friend of mine. We're all good friends here, but I was saying to Coleman probably about last year we hiked together and everything like that, and obviously Coleman's a great leader out in our area, and I was saying, listen, we're gonna do Kilimanjaro or what? Let's do it. We're not getting any younger, right? And he said, let's do it. Let's do it with the hiking group you go with. And I called Mike, and like I said, like, Coleman's a power player out here. I'm gonna be real, right? So it's like dropping Kaiser Sose. I said, hey, Mike, you're not going to believe it. I was just talking to Coleman Nee. He says we should do Kilimanjaro with the organization. I said, okay, this is amazing. Let's do it. I said, help me, help you. Let's make this happen. It's going to be amazing. God bless America. We can't be more excited. So,
Well, then, Kurt, you needed to be the one to tell that story, so thank you.
Yeah,
no problem.
I knew it.
Well, our big thing is, and I've said it, is to inspire not only more veterans getting involved in DAV, and like Coleman says, really learning about the benefits that they've already earned, right? But on top of it, our big mission here is we want to inspire the veterans out there that are struggling and reinforce the concept that anything is possible when you decide failure isn't an option, right? So we want to tackle the mountain. We want to say, like, get out of your houses, keep moving, keep doing what you're doing. And especially, for those of our service members that have been injured overseas, that, like, do not let that limit your ability, and you have to continue to enjoy life, and you have to keep pushing in a positive direction.
Yeah. Can one of you tell us, and if you guys squeeze together just a little bit, we can get all three of you in frame, so you don't have to switch, whatever works.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you like to meet some other members of the group? We can even shift seats there.
Yeah, well, I want to hear about kind of the different people in the group, because I know we have good age range. There are a couple of women on the trip, so just tell me a little bit about the different folks on the trip.
I'm gonna. Can I let them tell it themselves?
Sure.
All right, Kurt, you and I jump up, and you and Melissa, please introduce yourselves. And we should probably say branch of service, right?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Yuma Hyder. I was in the Navy. I was a CB, and I did a couple deployments with them. I found Veterans of 48 through Mike finding me through Instagram. Actually, I was hiking in New Hampshire, and it's just been amazing being able to be around other veterans and being able to get outdoors and have these different experiences I wouldn't have otherwise.
Great.
Hi, my name's Melissa. I'm a United States Navy veteran. I was an aircraft mechanic when I was in. I discovered Veterans on the 48 by making a Facebook post on our local hiking group in New Hampshire, and somebody who wasn't even a veteran connected me with Mike. And this group has actually really helped me just connect with other young female veterans, because I haven't really had that community since I got out, and it's really kind of helped me like overcome a lot of obstacles and also be around other women who have similar experiences than me, and that's been really important in my transition.
Yeah. I want to ask too, because I have seen this Melissa, this Grateful Dead shirt you're wearing. I've seen like it on multiple people. Is this shirt like making the rounds?
It's the Human Outreach Project, Worldwide Trekking, or
Okay.
the organization we're hiking with. And I actually
Gotcha.
the Grateful Dead logo. So
That is
somebody told
amazing.
me. Yeah. And so I recognized. I was like, oh wait, that's the Grateful Dead. Cool.
Okay, gotcha. All right, let's get a couple more other folks in here, and meet you guys.
Jeremy and Greg, yeah,
I'll slide down, Greg, and
Sure.
I guess it's last name.
Carlos.
Let's slide down.
Yeah.
Carlos Madden, Army veteran. I've been hiking in New Hampshire for quite a while now. I kind of started several years ago for the same reason, just needed to get outside, do things. I kind of found that hiking personally like reinforced a lot of the skills that I knew I was confident in the military and that I like, like the planning and the preparation and just getting out and being independent. And because of that, I also found out about this 48 challenge in New Hampshire, ended up doing all of them. I think Mike found me like right after I finished doing them all. But since then, and because of this, I think I've gotten more involved in hiking, and I've actually done almost the second round already, 48 again. So being put in contact with other veterans through the organization, keeping myself, motivated and outside has been great.
And are you a newer DAV member yourself?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yep.
What's your experience been with DAV so far?
Me personally, I joined because of this trip,
Yeah.
but also because of my job. We have a partnership with DAV, so I'm very familiar with the DAV, and I've actually referenced the DAV for service members and veterans who have needed helps with claims, and I say, oh, I know somebody who can help do that, and so it's been great. I haven't needed it, but thankfully I've been able to send people to the right direction.
Great, thank you. All right, is it Greg?
Yes,
Yes,
my
introduce
name's
yourself.
Greg York. I'm Mike's father. I'm the senior member on this hike at 61, and I'm a former airborne instructor, and I'm the one that pushes these younger guys to keep going.
Awesome. All right, next up.
Lastly, I'm Jeremy Worth, United States Army veteran. I think 3 years ago, I found out about the New Hampshire 48. I did my first, and I posted it, and Mike found me and asked me if I wanted to join a group of veterans that were tackling the same challenge, and I said absolutely, and here we are.
And Greg and Jeremy, what has your experience been with DAV?
I'm relatively new to it, but I know it's going to help because I've had 2 knee operations due to parachute jumping, and things hadn't been going anywhere. But Coleman is pushing me in the right direction, so it's all positive.
Yeah.
I'm new to it as well, and haven't had the opportunity or haven't had the need to use it yet, but know people that have and had a fantastic experience. So.
Great. Well, welcome to all of you to the organization. Coleman was talking before. A trip like this, part of the goal is to reach more veterans and to welcome them into DAV. So I'm glad you all could join. Did we miss anyone else?
No, we do have some amazing guides here, and I don't want it to be lost that the place where we're staying is actually a sort of service center, in that it has a school and an orphanage. So I'm sorry, I'll do this one. Sorry. Thanks. Musical chairs. It has a school and an orphanage. We were able to take a tour today. They're doing amazing work here, and really we had an opportunity to hang out with the kids. We had an opportunity to meet the staff and look at the facilities. And I think it just makes us all feel one, good that we're doing what we can to support this particular organization, but it really does help us put it, at least for me, I only speak for myself, but it does put it in perspective about what we do have, what all of it to protect and to as part of what we felt was our obligation, and there's some very there's some people who are living under some difficult conditions, but the positivity, the smiles, the energy, the enthusiasm amongst everyone from the youngest child that we saw to all the way up to to the oldest staff worker here. They carry on every day. They do the mission and they get it done, and they don't complain, and they just they see something in front of them. And I think that's a good synergy for us who served in the military, because that's a lot of the ethos that we were taught as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we know so many veterans, they want to continue to serve after their military service, and they tend to be very mission driven. So I think it's wonderful that you're working something like that into this trip. I want to recap for the folks who are joining us kind of mid video here. I'm speaking with DAV members and Marine Corps veterans Coleman Nee and Michael York, who are joining us from the base of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa. Behind them in the room, they have 6 other DAV members, many of them new to the organization, that are joining them on this hike. They will spend the next 10 days hiking nearly 20,000 feet above sea level to the mountain's peak. The trip is organized by Veterans on the 48 and sponsored by DAV Massachusetts. Michael, can you tell us kind of what's in store for you all over the next 9 or 10 days?
19,341 feet. We'll go through 5 different eco zones, 7 days to the top, 2 to the bottom, and just honestly looking forward to every day and the experience.
Yeah. Coleman, is there something that you're most looking forward to?
Summiting. It's not. It's interesting. This is not. It's the highest freestanding mountain in the world. It's not a technical climb, and that we have to get ropes out and do all of that. But it is long. I mean, we're going to be walking. We just had a briefing just before this, and we're going to be walking on average, I think, 7 to 8 hours a day. There's some days one day we're doing summit day. It's broken up. It's not all in one, but within a 24-hour period, I think we'll be walking for 13 to 14 hours.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? So, and that's, and the summit, we'll be doing that sometime right after midnight in the dark, and hopefully get up there when the dawn breaks. But I think if I had something I'm most looking forward to.
You're good. You're good. We broke up for a second, but you're good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think if there's something I'm most looking forward to, it is being on that summit with the sun coming up. And I'm really hoping it's a nice clear day because, I just have to tell you, just from my personal background where I grew up, I mean, I grew up very, blue collar kid. I enlisted in the Marine Corps. I wasn't an officer or anything. I just kind of, had one of those upbringings where if you went back and asked 18-year-old me, did I ever think I'd have an opportunity to do something like this? Not even a chance. And I think, the opportunity that I'm here, that I'm doing it, that I'm with the best team you could have and some very fantastic folks. And we all have that commonality where, we can go in and out of speaking, veteran talk just as fluently as any other language, and to have that common understanding of one another. I couldn't ask for anything better, and it's just an amazing opportunity. I'm so grateful for it, and like I said, when I'm up on that top of that summit, it's going to be emotional for me because it is going to culminate.
Yeah. Coleman, what would you tell other DAV chapters and department leaders who they're interested in doing something like this? Maybe it's not Kilimanjaro, but they're interested and getting creative and getting more veterans involved. What steps can they start taking?
Yeah, I think the Department of Mass was really forward thinking about helping us with this because it did interest, as you heard, most of these folks are new DAV members, and I think through the process of talking to them about DAV, I know at the Wilderness First Aid, a lot of people are like, oh, I just thought you guys did claims. I didn't know you did this, and this, and that's all relevant to them. And I think for other chapters and other departments, I think too many times we try to recruit younger veterans by telling them what we have instead of just bringing them into a room and saying, what do you need? What would an organization that has value look like to you? And how can we, do you have any, here's what we have. Do you have any suggestions as to how we can add more value for you so that it's something that you would want to be involved with? And there's, we know with the DAV Charitable Trust, with the Winter Sports Clinic, with the golf clinics, our disaster relief assistance efforts. I mean, there's so much that we're doing that I don't think a lot of these younger vets know that we're doing. And I think at the chapter level, we need to really be explaining that and listening more than we're talking to them, and finding out what they're looking for in an organization and figuring out how we can, how they can fit in and we can have a productive new member who's building the bridge for the future, because we know that the veterans population is changing both in overall size and in demographics. And as I was telling the group earlier today, there's benefits and the services that we have didn't appear by magic, and they certainly didn't appear because the government decided to say, let's spend trillions of dollars on vets every year. They came because World War I and World War II veterans came back and fought for these benefits, and Korean and Vietnam veterans defended those benefits when they were under siege. And I know I see the incredible work that DAV is doing today. The PACT Act, burn pit issues. DAV was central to the burn pit issue. So we're doing the things that are going to benefit them and that provide value to them. We just need to demonstrate that and show that more and ask for their assistance and help in not only helping us to accomplish them today, but realizing the relevant obligation of the next generation of veterans. And, if we got great benefits, you can't just say, all right, I'm pulling up the ladder or I don't care. You have to secure those benefits and make sure that safety net is there and improved for the generation coming behind you. That's just, our obligation. And I think they're seeing that, through the work DAV is doing. And I think we need to have our chapters and departments kind of, promote that a little bit more to the younger crew.
Yeah. Michael, we've talked a bit about just how healing and rewarding something like this can be, and just being outdoors and hiking. What would you say to any veterans who are maybe interested into getting into something outdoors but don't know where to start? Maybe you and your father just jumped right in, but maybe they're more intimidated. What would you tell those veterans?
If they're going to do Mount Washington randomly, look into it more than we did. We set ourselves up for failure pretty quick, but we got through it. But if they're local, if they're in the New England area, reach out to us. Veteransonthe48.org. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We can always tailor hikes to any level. If you're fast, slow, if you want to do a high mountain, a lower mountain, we'd be happy to have you join us. And join our family.
Yeah, and I know.
I also just want to say, Elizabeth.
Yeah, go on.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to put in that, you don't have, someone says, let's go climb a mountain. That could be intimidating, right? Particularly if maybe you're older, maybe you have a very significant mobility disability. Maybe you're not in the kind of condition that you were when you were in the service. Anybody can get out there and do stuff. If you go to most of I think all of the national parks and most of your state parks are going to have accessible trails. Even if you need the help of a chair or some type of mobility device. There are, as Michael said, you go to a state park, there's going to be what they call usually like a heart healthy trail. And that's, just a really nice walk. And getting that first hike or that first walk underway is a huge motivator, because it's like, wow, I did that. I could probably come back here and do that again, or I could even maybe come back here and do that, plus maybe add, a quarter of a mile to it, and I think I'd be okay. And I think once you're out there, it's not about the destination. It really is about the journey for you, because it's peaceful, it's serene. There's a lot of nature and there's a lot of healing powers. But hey, for some vets, that's hunting. For some vets, that's fishing. For some vets, that's meditation. For some vets, that's volunteering at a homeless shelter. It's whatever is best for the individual. But if you're someone who's sitting back doing nothing and saying, wow, I always wanted to do whatever, it doesn't matter really your age or your disability level. We all have abilities and we all have strength, and there's groups out there that are willing to help. And if you can't find one, contact, Vets on the 48, or contact me or Department of Mass. We'll find one for you.
Yeah. Coleman and Michael and to the rest of the group, thank you all so much for making time for us today. Thank you for all that you do for veterans, and we're wishing you the best hike, the best experience. Thank you all for watching. Keep an eye out for more content from the trip at DAV.org and on DAV's social media channels. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.